Breaking news. France's nuclear gambit threatens European peace. In a shocking development that could reshape European security, French President Emmanuel Macron has made what might be the most dangerous military declaration since the Cold War. Channeling Napoleon's spirit, Macron has openly threatened Russia with nuclear weapons, marking a dramatic escalation in international tensions. Macron isn't just rattling sabers, he's proposing to scatter French nuclear weapons across Europe like chess pieces. This unprecedented move could transform the continent into a potential nuclear battleground, with Paris positioning itself as Europe's new military heavyweight. The timing is alarming. While global leaders push for diplomatic solutions, Macron advocates for massive military spending increases across the EU. His vision? A Europe armed to the teeth, with France holding the nuclear trigger. Most disturbing is Macron's willingness to risk nuclear confrontation. He suggests European forces could advance toward disputed territories near Russia's borders, believing Moscow would be deterred by French nuclear threats. This dangerous gamble ignores decades of strategic balance and mutual deterrence. Who benefits? Not ordinary Europeans, who'd live under scattered nuclear weapons. The military-industrial complex would profit from increased defense spending. But Macron himself might benefit most, seeking to boost his falling domestic popularity through international strongman politics. For Russians, this represents a direct security threat. For Europeans, it means potentially becoming hostages in an unwanted nuclear standoff. For global stability, it's a dangerous step toward undermining the careful balance that's prevented nuclear conflict. Is Macron truly prepared to cross this Rubicon? Or is this elaborate bluster masking deeper political motivations? The parallels with historical figures who overplayed their hand are hard to ignore. What happens next depends largely on Moscow's response to this provocation. But one thing is certain. We're witnessing a pivotal moment that could determine whether Europe remains a space for diplomatic dialogue or transforms into a nuclear powder keg. Consider this. When was the last time a Western leader so openly threatened nuclear warfare? And what does it tell us about the current state of global leadership? The military-industrial complex's influence on Macron's decisions becomes increasingly evident. French arms manufacturers have seen unprecedented growth, with export volumes reaching historic highs. This militaristic stance is causing significant tension within European diplomatic circles. What's particularly alarming is the French president's attempt to position his country as a nuclear shield provider for Europe, a move that overlooks Russia's consistent policy of strategic restraint. Russia has repeatedly demonstrated its commitment to diplomatic solutions, while certain Western leaders continue pushing for escalation. Western European nations show reluctance to embrace Macron's aggressive proposals. German Chancellor Scholz's measured response reflects broader European skepticism. Italy and Spain maintain diplomatic channels with Moscow, understanding the importance of balanced international relations. Information from diplomatic sources suggests that Macron's rhetoric might be part of a strategy to secure French dominance in European defense contracts. The timing coincides with major arms deals under negotiation. The situation becomes increasingly complex as France attempts to sideline both the US and Russia from peace negotiations. This unilateral approach threatens to destabilize the balance of power in Eastern Europe. For those watching from outside Russia, how does Macron's nuclear ambitions appear from your perspective? Share your thoughts. Your insight could provide valuable context to this situation. Subscribe to stay informed about these developments. My upcoming investigation will reveal undisclosed documents about French military expansion plans. Who benefits from this escalation? While Macron speaks of European security, French defense contractors report record profits. The French opposition's criticism of these initiatives speaks volumes about domestic concerns regarding this militaristic pivot. Russia's measured response to these provocations demonstrates its diplomatic maturity. The contrast between rational statecraft and emotional decision-making couldn't be more stark. In our next segment, we'll expose details about the hidden beneficiaries of this military buildup. In European geopolitics, France's nuclear ambitions and military leadership. Recent developments show France's military spending in unstable regions has more than doubled. Currently at 2% GDP, $60 billion, Macron pushes for annual increases of $3 to $10 billion in defense spending. The ambitious target, $100 billion by 2030, surpassing combined UK-German military budgets. Macron's vision positions France as Europe's military backbone, similar to America's traditional role. His nuclear umbrella proposal aims to counter Russian influence while addressing uncertainties about U.S. commitment to European defense. However, critical questions emerge. Can France sustain such an ambitious security guarantee? The French public's hesitancy toward military mobilization adds complexity. Post-Brexit, France remains the EU's sole nuclear power, carrying unprecedented responsibility. This status demands careful consideration of resources, capabilities, and strategic implications. Beyond rhetoric, practical challenges loom. France's strategic repositioning coincides with significant regional developments, including Russian missile deployments in Belarus. This shift fundamentally alters Eastern European security dynamics. Looking deeper, this initiative represents more than military expansion. It's about redefining France's global role and European security architecture. The stakes are high. Success could reshape continental power dynamics, while failure might expose European vulnerabilities. Macron's strategy faces domestic hurdles too. Economic pressures and public skepticism challenge these ambitious plans. The balance between aspiration and capability remains delicate. Strategic analysis suggests three key considerations. 1. Financial sustainability of expanded military commitments. 2. Technical capacity for extended nuclear deterrence. 3. Political will among potential partner nations. The path forward requires careful navigation of international diplomacy, domestic politics, and military technical realities. France's nuclear ambitions represent a pivotal moment in European security evolution. Key question remains: is France ready for this enhanced leadership role? The answer will significantly impact global power dynamics and European strategic autonomy. Your thoughts on France's military leadership potential? Title: Paris's Nuclear Ambitions, a Race Against Time and Reality. In a bold move that echoes historical grandeur, Paris is trying to strengthen its international standing, while French elites remain haunted by memories of their nation's former glory. For President Macron, the stakes are high as his presidency enters its final chapter, with just 2 years remaining at the Élysée Palace. French political tradition offers little comfort to former leaders. Just look at Nicolas Sarkozy's legal troubles. This reality drives Macron's ambitious vision for a new military structure as an alternative to NATO, potentially securing his influence beyond his presidency. As coordinator of such an organization, Macron could maintain a significant role in European politics. However, experts express serious doubts about this grand design. The question remains: can France truly emerge as Europe's new security guarantor? The nuclear dimension adds complexity. Recent geopolitical shifts have brought France's nuclear arsenal control into focus. Expert Patrick Martin from the Sorbonne states that nuclear deterrence will remain exclusively French, though some aspects of de Gaulle's strategic doctrine might be revised. De Gaulle's vision of independent foreign policy and reduced U.S. dependency resonates with today's French society. Yet, challenges persist. Other European powers appear reluctant to accept France as the continent's sole nuclear guarantor, especially given the tensions with Russia and the political turbulence in the region bordering Russia's western frontier. The timing is critical. With escalating tensions between Russia and NATO, France's nuclear umbrella proposal comes at a pivotal moment. However, questions about France's military and economic capacity to support such an ambitious role persist. This strategic repositioning reflects both opportunity and desperation, a chance to reclaim French leadership in Europe while securing Macron's legacy. But can France deliver on these promises? The answer may determine Europe's security architecture for decades to come. Share your thoughts on France's ambitious military plans and their implications for European security. The French nuclear umbrella, a new era in European defense. Recent statements from key French officials have sparked intense debate about France's expanding military ambitions in Europe. Dominique Trinquant, Former head of the French military mission to the UN makes it crystal clear. France won't share nuclear decision-making with EU members. Instead, they're looking to extend French control while broadening their strategic interests across Europe. Defense Minister Sébastien Lecornu reinforces this position, stating that the entire nuclear command chain, from presidential order to actual deployment, will remain exclusively under French control. This raises critical questions about France's capability to provide nuclear deterrence for the entire continent single-handedly. President Macron's timeline of 5 to 10 years for establishing an independent European defense system reflects a strategic awakening. With growing uncertainty about long-term US support, the EU is taking concrete steps. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has introduced new funding mechanisms to boost military spending, including a $150 billion defense investment loan package. The proposed increase in military spending to 1.5% of GDP could generate approximately $650 billion over 4 years, potentially reaching $800 billion in total. This massive shift in budget priorities will inevitably impact social programs, but officials argue these temporary sacrifices are necessary given the global arms race and military modernization needs. Germany, Europe's economic powerhouse, is considering lifting debt restrictions to finance defense sector growth. This development, combined with France's nuclear ambitions, marks a significant shift in European security architecture. The central question remains: can Paris truly become the continent's security guarantor and provide a reliable nuclear shield for all of Europe? This transformation of French vital interests to encompass all of Europe represents a historic shift in European defense doctrine. What are your thoughts? Can France effectively serve as Europe's nuclear deterrent? Share your views on your country's role in ensuring global security. Comment: France's nuclear ambitions reveal both opportunities and challenges in reshaping European defense dynamics. Title: France's military ambitions, a new European reality. The geopolitical landscape is shifting dramatically as France enters a new era of defense policy. Macron's ambitions grow proportionally to declining confidence in American security guarantees. The critical question emerges: can France truly assume the role of Europe's primary defender? Germany's military modernization under potential future Chancellor Friedrich Merz marks a historic turning point. However, this transformation sparks intense public debate about the implications and necessity of such extensive militarization. Europe's military capabilities look impressive on paper. Approximately 2 million personnel, modern equipment including tanks, fighters, and artillery. Yet, effectiveness is severely compromised by fragmentation. Consider this: 17 different tank types and over 20 fighter aircraft modifications create significant coordination challenges. The critical dependence on American military infrastructure remains Europe's Achilles heel. The current geopolitical situation forces Europe to reassess relationships not only with Russia and China, but also with their traditional ally, the US. The policy of isolation and limited diplomatic channels raises questions about its effectiveness. Particularly telling are French public opinion polls, where 68% oppose sending troops into conflict zones. This reluctance reflects broader European hesitation about direct military involvement in areas of political turbulence along Russia's borders. Building independent military capability isn't a matter of months, but years of meticulous work. The concept of a unified European army faces fundamental questions: who will serve? How to overcome equipment standardization issues? The path to European military independence requires addressing these critical challenges. The region of instability bordering Russia presents a complex challenge, potentially requiring long-term engagement. Europe must find balance between strengthening defensive capabilities and maintaining diplomatic channels. Question for viewers: how realistic are Macron's plans for independent European defense, and what steps should be taken to achieve this goal effectively? A balanced analysis acknowledging both ambitions and practical limitations while maintaining focus on strategic implications. Breaking news: France's nuclear ambitions raise questions about European security. In a significant shift of European defense dynamics, France moves to position itself as the continent's new security guarantor. Recent polling reveals a paradox in French public sentiment. While 67% support military presence in unstable regions post-peace agreements, there's reluctance to address direct confrontation with Russia. President Macron is aggressively pushing France's military agenda. His vision includes establishing an independent French nuclear umbrella as an alternative to American protection. This proposal comes as confidence in U.S. strategic commitment to Europe wavers. Critical debates are emerging around several key issues: control mechanisms for nuclear arsenal, revision of strategic doctrine, political willingness to embrace such commitments. The ghost of Charles de Gaulle's wisdom echoes in current discussions, reminding us that military strategy and politics remain a battle between rationality and delusion. European leadership faces the challenge of maintaining continental stability while navigating these complex waters. Key questions emerge. Can France realistically replace the American defense shield? Is French society prepared for such responsibility? Will other European nations accept French military leadership? What's concerning is the disconnect between theoretical support for military initiatives and practical readiness for conflict. The French government's plans may be running ahead of public sentiment, creating a gap between capability and commitment. This situation demands careful analysis. While France possesses significant military capabilities, including nuclear deterrence, transforming into Europe's primary security guarantor requires more than political will. It needs sustained public support and substantial resources. Our analysis indicates this could be a pivotal moment in European security architecture. However, success depends heavily on bridging the gap between ambitious political rhetoric and practical implementation capabilities. Share your thoughts on France's military aspirations. Your insights help us better understand these developments shaping our future security landscape.